Good evening, everybody. My name's Michael Mason, and I'm with Hosted Hangouts. And here this evening we've got Andy James and Nick Abel. Andy, I'm pretty sure, needs no introductions. We've been watching the comments that are coming through on Facebook, on Google, and of course on YouTube. We have the comments running, and if you place any comments, whether it be on Twitter using the hashtag #MeetAndyJames, or if you comment on Facebook or indeed on Google Plus or YouTube, all those comments come through to us and we will be passing them through to Andy. And what we would like to say is a big thank you to everybody who's watching. And if you are watching on Facebook and you would prefer to watch on YouTube. Good evening, everybody. My name's Michael Mason, and I'm with Hosted Hangouts. And here this evening, there we go. Just got a feed going in the background that was coming through my headset. If you're watching on Facebook, by all means come across over to Google or YouTube and place your comments there. What I'm going to do now is hand over to Andy, the man himself, and I'm just going to go in the background and have a look at some of the comments that are coming through. Andy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, thanks, Michael.
Hi, buddy. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. So we've got an hour where we can take questions from people and, well, just basically hang out for an hour. So
Yeah.
That's what we'll be doing.
I'm really looking forward to it. Something I didn't mention at the beginning is, you and I have only just met recently, and I was talking with Nick, who we're going to introduce in a moment, and, I like music, I like guitarists, and I saw your stuff and I was impressed, really impressed.
Cheers.
I'm really pleased to have you on Hosted Hangouts tonight. I know that we've got quite a number of people watching, and I'm just going to hand over to Nick in a second and introduce Nick to everybody so that they all know who he is and how you guys met up, etc.
Yeah.
Nick is with us as well. He's partnered with Andy on the Andy James Guitar Academy. Are you there, Nick?
I'm here, yes.
Hi, buddy. How are you doing?
Pay attention.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
How's things up in Newcastle?
Things are good here.
Cold?
Great to see so many of our... it's pretty cold, yes. Very cold, icy. So good to see so many of Andy's fans here. Hello to everybody. And basically, we've basically got an hour, 60 minutes, and this is an opportunity for the fans to post questions to Andy, and Andy's we're just gonna go through as many questions as possible.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about the academy and what's going to be coming up. For anyone who hasn't checked it out, head over to andyjamesguitaracademy.com. Where we're giving away a bunch of free lessons and some other surprises along the way as well. So if you haven't checked it out already, make sure you head over there. And I'm just going to start with a question that we received from a fan, and excuse the pronunciation of the name, Augustin Rojas.
Where's he from?
Chile,
right.
Chile, yeah.
Oh, cool.
And this is the reason I've chose his question to start is, we've been getting, a lot of comments on Facebook, messages, emails.
Yeah.
We did a survey probably 6-7 weeks ago where we had a lot of questions. A very common question that people are asking is, they're practicing guitar and they reach a point where, they're doing the work, they're practicing, they're taking lessons, they're studying, and they don't feel as if they're crossing over onto the next level or the next step up. And I guess the question we have here from Augustine and a lot of fans as well is, what was it like for you when you were practicing, when you were kind of like stepping up the ladder, and how did you overcome certain obstacles, and what sort of happened when you felt yourself reach a new level?
Well, it's kind of an ongoing process, like for me, because I'm always practicing, playing, doing all that kind of stuff, But I think, you start to, gauge your own ability, next to So like, you know, for me personally, I'd be learning like people's, you know, stuff off of albums. You know, mainly stuff I'd be listening to, you know, by ear and stuff like that. So I guess a good kind of gauge for me to sort of like know if I was getting into the right ballpark, was kind of like being able to play along to the sort of CD, and you don't really hear like what you're doing compared to what the CD's doing. Do you know what I mean? Like you get it so close that that you know you can really start to kind of understand how you know there's some of the inflections in the playing and stuff like that. But obviously when you're listening to like guitar players play, there's certain things that they'll do, like, you know, there might be pinch harmonics or a certain style of vibrato or a certain sort of bend. You know, a lot of that for me is just I've sort of stumbled across it by accident while actually learning the notes of some solo or whatever. So I guess you know, you kind of learn the notes of the solo, and then afterwards you start to really learn how to play it, because it's one thing just playing notes of a solo and the rest of it, but you know, it's another thing to actually, you know, inject some personality into it and try and get it, you know, first and foremost to sound like the person that you're playing, and then try and maybe, I don't know, steer yourself away from that. I mean, I never got it like, you know, note perfect and stuff, but there was a lot of mistakes I think I made playing guitar which actually steered me in another direction. And it's quite an important point actually, because, you know, those mistakes that I made trying to play other people's stuff happened while I was trying to play those particular licks. So because I made mistakes, I was kind of like, oh right, so I know I was aiming for one thing, but there's another thing that you can do with that, and then it kind of takes you in another direction, and then all of a sudden you start to recognise different things that you can do, you know, with the lick. I get asked a lot about, you know, how to make scales musical and stuff like that, and you know, I see a lot of guitar players when they jam, and they really do just kind of play as many notes as they can, you know, without really focusing on trying to kind of create some sort of melody, and then almost Marty Friedman used a good term like that I read ages ago called landscaping, where you basically you just start with a couple of notes, two notes, three notes, maybe even four notes, and then you start to build or like tell a story, like, you know, with you playing from that point, rather than, you know, just, I know a lot of people, they'll pick up the guitar, they'll be staring into space, and then they'll just kind of randomly play stuff, and they won't really be connecting with what they're doing, you know. And I think when you start to really connect with what you're doing, that's when you start to notice your ability kind of get better. So I guess that's my point really. Yeah, you know, once you start to really connect with what you're doing, then you can really understand it and take it further.
Cool. This is a good question that just came up in the comment tracker. Let's see if we can put it up on the screen.
Yeah, I've got it. I can see it. How do you prevent injury while playing shred guitar besides warming up? Don't. When it's cold, it's, you know, it's pretty hard to sort of like play and stuff. But
yeah, I think this question kind of leads on to something that's going to be inside the academy, and something that, you know, myself being a guitarist and a musician as well, something that, you know, I know that I would certainly benefit from is we're going to be having a course inside the academy, which is going to teach guitarists and musicians as well, not just guitarists, but, you know, other musicians, you know, how to prevent injuries, and also how to, you know, warm up properly, you know, just by doing different stretches and stuff like that. So that's just why I wanted to point out that question. So we'll move on to the next question, which is from someone called Alex Oak. Let's put this one, see if we can put this one up on the screen.
Hi Andy, how long are you playing the guitar and how many hours you practice a day? I've been playing guitar for 20 years. I started when I was 12, and my dad, well, I kind of started a bit before that, you know, just with a friend's guitar really, and then on my 12th birthday, my dad, I convinced him to go out and buy me a guitar. It wasn't very expensive, like it was just a cheap guitar or whatever, but I loved that like guitar, you know, it was like a Fender copy thing. But yeah, and then practicing, I mean, the funny thing is, I mean, it's such a standard answer to go, yeah, I practice this many hours a day, but to be honest with you, I never ever clocked it up. I've never like, you know, I've never sat down and go, right, I'm going to practice for 3 hours. I think that's a mistake, really. If you have to kind of, do that, then I don't know. For me, I just did it because I enjoyed it so much. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't really care about doing anything else. So, that for the first sort of, 6 or 7 years, 8 years or whatever, I just kind of, fit it in between school and college and then eventually working.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to and try and find time for relationships and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Guitar has always kind of taken over, really.
Yeah, this kind of leads on to the next question, which I've spotted here in the comment tracker. I'll just put it up again. Was there any time in your life as a guitarist that you said, "That's it, I quit"?
No.
And that's from no.
No, never.
Sort of
Because to be honest, if you turn around and if you have a look at a guitar player and then go, "That's it, I quit," then you've already put a limitation on yourself as to how far you can take the instrument. I've never looked at anybody and gone, "No, I can't do that," or there are things I can't do. There's tons of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's actually quite cool. There's a comment that stuck in my head from jazz guitarist Mike Stern, who said one time, what you play is based not only upon what you can do. So many people are like, I can do this. What you can't do. So many people are like, I can't do this, I can't do that. And they're thinking, well, if I can't do this, I'll never be, the player that I want to be. But also, you're shaped by what you can do, but also by what you can't do. Hence, you can't do everything,
Well, I mean, a lot of my, technique and stuff. I mean, I did a clinic a couple of days ago, and this came up as a question. Like how do you come up with like loads of different things and ideas for sort of like using techniques and come up with different different things or whatever. And basically my playing is a series of things that have happened because I can't do something else.
Yeah.
Basically that's what's happened. It's like, my kind of struggle with sweep picking ever since I started doing it kind of moved into doing kind of odd things that you wouldn't normally see someone who's very proficient in sweep picking do, but it's because I've had to kind of get around it and do other things. Like string skipping, that's something that's played a big part in me being able to play arpeggios and stuff, because if it wasn't for that technique, I probably wouldn't really be doing, many arpeggios and that kind of thing. There's a bunch of stuff where, I've had to tap ideas and stuff. I mean, like, Joe Satriani, Mystical Potato Head Groove thing, for example, that was one thing I was like, what is going on with that? But that was one of those moments. It didn't make me want to give up. It made me want to, kind of get hold of that piece of music and one part in particular and just go, right, what is going on? And I watched him do it live and I was like, no, I can't do that. So I had to tap it instead. But that led me into a whole nother thing. So that one lick sparked off a whole new inspiration that I just kind of went off on my own and went, right, well, if you can do that, then maybe you can do this, and and blah blah blah, and use the experience I'd already gained on the guitar to sort of like explore further with, most of those ideas would just be kind of pentatonics and stuff, but I seem to have made it my life's mission to play stuff that does rely heavily on the pentatonic scale, but to try and make it sound like nothing like the scale that it is,
Yeah.
Because there's so many different applications with it. I don't think guitar players really realise how important the pentatonic scale is. I think there's a lot of people out there that disregard it because it's almost viewed as like a kid's or a kind of beginner's scale, and it really isn't. It's one of the hardest scales to play, believe it or not.
Yeah, definitely.
Properly and really get the most out of it.
I agree. I mean, that's maybe we can talk a little bit about the first course that's going to be coming out in the academy, which we just announced a few days ago on Facebook. I'm sure a lot of the viewers have seen that post, which is basically a huge 8-module course on pentatonics. I don't know, Andy, if you want to talk a little bit about what's going to be in there and the structure of it. Going from the basic 5 patterns up to the.
Well, that's exactly what it is, really. I mean, I wanted to. I mean, for the longest time, because I've a lot of my playing style and that does revolve around using that scale and generally looking at how to sort of like connect up the guitar and all the rest of it. I mean, even if I'm playing stuff that's totally unrelated to the pentatonic scale, it's still the one thing that I use as like my, I can see where I am on the neck if I'd sort of rely on that.
Yeah.
Which I suppose some people would argue that's a pretty basic way of looking at guitar, but the only reason I've ever really been able to do what I can do or have achieved on the guitar so far is the fact that I've kept everything pretty simple in my head. I've not overcomplicated anything. I don't think of massive amounts of theory. In fact, I don't think about theory at all when I'm playing. A lot of times it's relying totally on my experience and my kind of like ideas to kind of break out of really worrying about why something works. Theory is the sort of thing you go back and look at stuff afterwards. So I guess this course, there is going to be like, obviously tab, and there's going to be, theory stuff on the site for people that really do want to get to grips with maybe some stuff they've already learned. But, this course for me is just something that I wanted to get down and go, right, this is the pentatonic scale. It's been done a million times before. But I think there's a few things that I've put in this course which, make it slightly unique and will give people a different perspective on how you can use that scale within your playing. And it starts from the very sort of like basic elements of it. There's other stuff that kind of move away from the standard pentatonic scale, but it's funny as well, because I don't really look at the pentatonic scale as just a 5-note thing. I see all the notes kind of in between and all that kind of stuff. So, this course kind of touches on that as well, like how you can incorporate notes from the surrounding area of the pentatonic scale to make it a bit more interesting, and certain techniques such as there'll be drills for working on picking and breaking out of those box shapes that a lot of people get stuck in as well. So yeah, it's just trying to help people think simply about playing stuff that sounds pretty hard. And that seems to be my goal with teaching in general. I don't like to sit there and go, right, I've got some sort of like magic view on how to play guitar, and it's maybe a bit too difficult for you. You won't be able to do it, sort of attitude. I think anybody can really do it if you put enough hard work in. But if you keep things simple in your brain, it definitely doesn't hold you back as much. You just kind of go for it instead of sit there worrying about, oh, this isn't, I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that, or I should know more about this, I should know more about that. Instead of just getting on with it and doing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right, we've got a few questions here talking about your guitars and your relationship with ESP, your signature guitar, but a lot of people are asking about the 7-string.
Well, there's two, so we've got to figure out which one we're going to do. Can I show guitars on here, or?
Yeah, of course, go for it. Yeah, I'm sure the fans would love to.
Okay. Well, this is a bit beaten up at the moment, this guitar, because I went on tour about a month ago, and as you can see, the back plastic thing has just been completely smashed off. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, that's airlines for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the 7-string.
So are there any plans?
It's like 6-string basically, but it's same pickups, just a 7-string, 1 volume control, 3-way toggle switch, and it's the only one in the world at the moment.
Yeah, that's the question that I was kind of leading to was, I know that you have the guitar. I know there's only one, but the fans are asking, is this guitar going to be made available to buy through ESP?
Well, the 6-string's already out, so that's available wherever you are in the world. You can get that, and it's a great guitar. It's actually being repaired at the moment because I beat my guitar up so much, like it needs a little bit of TLC. So yeah, but there's that one, and there's also this one as well, which I've been playing a lot, which is the EC. Well, it's an ESP, but basically what's happening is it says E2 written here, and it's just a rebranding of ESP standard. So that's signature 7-string Eclipse, which I've been playing quite a lot recently as well, and it's a fantastic guitar, So I guess we'll kind of maybe figure out which one I'm using a bit more at the time, and then I don't know, we'll kind of figure it out. But for now, the 6-string one is out there. But yeah, I mean, it depends. Maybe we should put up a poll or something, like, you know,
Yeah.
put a picture of each guitar and then maybe get people to sort of vote on which one they like the most, and then present it to ESP and go, well, you know, people prefer this or people prefer that. And
Yeah, definitely.
maybe we could get something like that going or something.
Yeah. In fact, I'm just reading through some of the comments here. We have a comment here related to the guitar. Why limited and not an ESP? LTD.
Well, LTD is the American part of the company, and you know, because ESP is essentially Japanese, it's kind of split up into two things. But now it's things are changing a little bit within the world of ESP. But initially, why I started using LTD all those years ago was because most of their guitars were 24 fret,
Right.
and most of the ESP guitars were 22. So, and there wasn't really, to me, a big quality difference between one or the other. So, you know, I mean, even the cheaper versions of the LTD guitars, they all played like, you know, great. I mean, I'm not getting paid any extra to say that, you know, I'm saying it because I mean it, but every ESP that I play or pick up off the shelf, you know, they do sound and feel great, you know. I mean, they need a bit of tweaking here and there if I was going to own whatever I'd taken off the shelf, because I've got a bit of a weird kind of setup to my guitars, which is, you know, if someone does a normal setup and I get it given back, I'm always changing it slightly because I have my kind of bass strings lower than I have my higher strings, and most setups are set the other way. Do you know what I mean? So because I like to kind of feel like when I'm doing alternate picking, I don't like starting at the low strings and then feeling like the guitar gets easier to play as I go to the higher strings. I like it to feel quite even, so that's why I have it slightly higher in the treble strings and the bass strings a bit lower.
Yeah. Cool,
So,
great. I know we're getting a lot of questions in the comment tracker here from Google Plus and YouTube. We're not getting any from Facebook at the moment, so what I'm going to do is just go over to Michael and see if Michael can bring in some couple of questions from the fans on Facebook. Michael, are you there?
Yeah, I think I've unmuted myself. I've been listening to what's going on, and it's gripping stuff. I'm learning a lot. I actually have a quick question for Andy myself, from a novice, complete novice's point of view, because I don't know the first thing about guitars. Is there a prerequisite level that somebody has to have before they sign up for the academy? Is there something that they should be able to play, or a particular type of guitar, or I don't know, but what would you suggest?
well, I mean, first of all, I did see there was a question in one of the many emails that we've got through saying that you know, bought a lot of DVDs and stuff that I'd done, and everything seemed to be geared up for a 24 fret guitar.
Right.
I suppose there's you know, will I concentrate on doing stuff for 22 fret guitar? And I suppose my response to that would be, yeah, basically everything that you've learned in that key, just move it down a couple of frets and it'll be exactly the same, but it'll just be in the key of probably D instead of E minor or something like that.
Right.
But I don't think having 24 frets is necessarily limiting to your playing. I mean, the only thing I suppose you would do is you'd have to bend up to the 24th fret note instead of fret it, I guess. But that's probably the only limitation, really, playing that style guitar. But you don't need a 24 fret guitar necessarily. It's just that that's my preference and that's what I play.
Fine.
And so you know, as far as the guitar's point of view, no, you don't need a specific guitar really. Something that you feel comfortable with, because trying to learn on something that's very difficult to play is going to make your learning
I know, because we
a lot more difficult.
Yeah, we've got a 9-year-old at home that's learning piano, and she had to go to a bigger one. So obviously you have to start somewhere, and then you move up and up. And you know, it's just like with me and coding. In effect, you start at the bottom and you build your way up. And if there was a coding academy, I'd probably be part of that. I'm just going to switch screens a moment and see if I can bring in these comments from the event screen. I was just gonna
finish that response quickly. As far as the level, I mean, beginner level really, it's kind of weird to be honest, because I don't view the guitar necessarily in beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Though a lot of people like to sort of, I mean, if you're an advanced player and you play 4 notes, does that mean you're playing a beginner solo? It kind of doesn't really make sense from that point of view.
Right.
I think the way you can kind of measure your ability is obviously when you pick up the guitar, everything's going to feel pretty new. Some of your vibrato might be a bit off, or some of your tone might not be there because you haven't got calluses on your fingers and stuff like that. But they're all things that come when you spend more time with the instrument in your hands. But that's how you can sort of like gauge a seasoned player and then maybe a beginner player. Is that an advanced player might just play those 4 notes with a bit more experience and a bit more kind of injecting, or they're managing to kind of sync their brain with their hand and really express themselves. And I think you spend your whole career as a guitar player, I mean, learning how to use technique to be able to express yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I suppose in the academy we take things right back to basics. We're learning sort of like the scales that you need to know that will join up the neck ultimately, and there are exercises that you can do that are going to build strength and stamina and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, from a learning guitar point of view, I think that's probably quite an important thing, is to build up a little bit of strength and get used to the instrument in your hand.
Yeah.
Before maybe starting to, do things like bends and slides and all the rest of it. Because the thing is, like bending, you need a required strength in your left hand to be able to do that. But before you can do that, you need to train yourself up. So there's sort of things that you need to be able to do before you can kind of progress. But no, generally, we're going to have loads of scale diagrams, and there's going to be loads of stuff that you can latch onto that will help you progress. But I mean, I suppose largely a lot of the content will probably be geared up towards people that have already been playing maybe a few years. But there is stuff that if you're a beginner, and you want to learn some extra scales and stuff like that, stuff's also going to be available. So yeah, it's going to cover every sort of like aspect of, I suppose if you want to pigeonhole everything from beginner, intermediate, and advanced, there is stuff that will cater for that, definitely.
Well, let me just see what we've got over on Facebook for you, Andy.
Okay, cool.
Switch screens. Let's have a look. Got one here from Steve Seridinsky. Andy, I'm having some trouble with something that no one else has been able to help me with. I can't for some reason fix this sound problem I am having. I am completely self-taught for 23 years and I'm just not good with effects and amps, etc. I am getting a rhythm sound, but my high E, B and G strings just sound like a crying, whining baby mixed with dying cat and a guitar. I think he's having a joke there. Which is the best way I can describe it, he says. I get this sound no matter what I do. I've changed amp, pedal combos, messed with every knob and got instruction from YouTube on tone and everything, but it's just always there. I've even grabbed a brand new LTD guitar and brand new Black Star amp and it is still there. Help, please. I'm hearing something about having my guitar set up. Would that make a difference? Any advice? Is this something that the Academy could help with, do you think?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult with a lot of these things to kind of, diagnose properly without having a video or something. So, I mean, it might, instead of me trying to, give an answer that maybe isn't relevant at all, maybe we could get this guy to send a video of what it is he's actually talking about, and then I can, have a look and maybe give some sort of proper diagnosis as to why that's happening.
There's
I think that would be the best thing to do.
Yeah, get a video together.
Yeah, send us a video if that's at all possible. I mean, it could be any number of things really, like your action's too low, or your guitar might need a setup, or you've got feedback problems. I mean, is he referring to rhythm playing or lead playing? It didn't really specify.
He didn't know, but this is the beauty of YouTube and with the Hangouts. I know that Nick may have mentioned it earlier. You guys are going to be doing these things more regularly. So,
yeah, we are. Yeah.
And I mean, I know from my own personal point of view, whenever I've learned something, having that level of engagement with somebody who is good and teaching, what they're doing, an expert in the field, if I can say that of you, to have that person be able to come back right away. I could be on camera right now with my guitar, and I could say, is the finger placement correct? And you could come back
Hmm.
and say, nope, just move that one up a bit, and change things around. There's a quick one I'll bring in from
Okay. Okay.
Facebook. When I
Actually, just before we move on, is there an
Yeah,
email address that if that guy gets a video and he wants to send it over,
yeah.
or
Yes,
to send it?
so
If Nick
no, you can.
wants, I was just going to say, Nick, if you want to put that into our chat, what I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do is I can actually put it at the bottom of the screen here in the scroller. All I have to do is just copy and paste it straight out.
There you go.
Brilliant. Um, Here we go, Stephanie Middleton. So I own a lot of your videos, and it seems you're always using different kinds of guitar picks. One.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. Well, this is an ongoing thing, like for
Yeah.
me. I know what she's going to say. In fact, I
Uh,
think I read this question earlier. I was going through all the questions in my emails, and
uh,
this one came up.
yeah. No one said you were using a Dunlop Perlin Pink 0.71 millimeters. On another, you said you were using Dunlop Darling 1.5, like purple. And she goes on to say,
Right,
are you, I'm assuming you've read the question, Andy.
this is going to make everyone like laugh, right? Just check this out.
Oh my god.
Look at that. Look.
So you've got a
I
few
mean,
picks to go at there.
yeah, literally. I was just doing a bit of recording earlier, and I'm always going. It changes kind of daily, to be honest with you. I don't really know why it's become such a problem. It never really, it was never really a problem until I joined Sacred 6 years ago or whatever. Because I wasn't doing stuff that was severely like like playing riffs and stuff, and then
Hmm.
soloing at the same time, and I had to find a pick that was perfect for doing both. And it just kind of threw me out because the picks I was using wasn't getting the tight rhythm tone that I really wanted, and I really wanted to get it as tight as I could possibly get it. And then when it came to doing solos, those picks would often be really heavy and just too like it'd be a nightmare. So it was trying to find something that would kind of cross over. And ever since
Yeah.
that, it sort of sparked me on a mission to sort of find the perfect pick. And it's kind of weird, because I'll play sitting down quite a lot if I'm at home or I'm practicing or I'm, doing stuff to camera or whatever. And because the guitar's in a different position, you'll end up needing a different pick because it
Yeah.
dynamically just reacts different to where you sit, where you stand and you play guitar as well. I mean, I'm probably the only guitar player that I know out of all my friends that play guitar that have this issue.
Uh,
So,
well,
but I have
on.
consistently found this. I don't know if that's.
Yep, the camera should be picking that up. For those watching, it's right now we're streaming in 360 DPI, but when it encodes and it's finalized for watching later, comes out in 720.
Okay. Well,
Which pick is that?
that's a Dava control pick. They're like an American company, and this is like a sort of Jazz 3, but it's slightly it's got more give in it, so it's a little bit more forgiving, and it's got a rubber grip on it as well because I struggle with grip on picks a lot as well, which is kind of why I keep using different ones. But I've got like a load of Dunlop ones which I use as well because recording sometimes you want. I don't know. I mean, there's so many different variations for like what you would need. Like, I mean, I've walked into studios before and they literally have a big pot of picks, and it's because generally some picks will be really scratchy to record with.
Yeah,
Like a lot of Tortex picks, they are a bit scratchy, but Ultex are brilliant for recording because you don't get that kind of scratch. They might feel not as comfortable, but you get a better tone. So
yeah.
it's quite handy having like loads of different picks and stuff like that. But the thing
Okay.
is, the other problem is because I've got that many picks, it's like, oh, maybe another pick feels like it needs to get used now, so I'll go through and find a different
Do
style
your
of
picks
pick.
get jealous?
Yeah, I think they might do. Yeah.
All right. I'll just pull a couple more over from Facebook and then hand back to Nick, and we can see what's coming in through YouTube, etc.
Okay.
Just switch screen here. I'm a long-time fan and have purchased all your six. This is from Richard D. Green, by the way. Purchased all your six-week lessons and all of your extreme guitar lessons, and I've noticed a lot of the lessons are based on the 24 fret guitar. are your new lessons from the academy going to be based in the same way? Like myself, I do not own a 24 fret, and I very much want in the academy. I feel that's my only setback, sincerely, Richard.
I'm just
Yeah,
going to jump in here and just...
we covered that a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
but no,
Okay.
not really. I mean, to be honest, like when you've, I've got a guitar here. This is 24 frets, right? That's where your 22 fret guitar ends, and that's where your 24 fret guitar ends. There's literally no difference really in having, apart from the fact that you might not be able to play either a C minor pentatonic scale or C sharp minor pentatonic scale up there, or you might not be able to play an extended B minor or some extensions of E minor. But to be honest with you, it's not a massive deal, and for you to get the most out of the academy, you're really not going to struggle too much if you don't have a 24 fret guitar, so it's totally fine.
Right, and a very quick one here from Joseph Gontarek. I don't think Nick covered this one earlier, but he's just saying, super excited to join the Andy James Guitar Academy. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Do you have any advice on practice routine for working on vibrato?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be, there's actually some extensive lessons in the academy for vibrato that we've done, and it's just kind of working on different style of bends, with vibrato just on a note where you're not bending at all, just controlling the wrist, that kind of thing. I mean, there's a few different styles of vibrato. There's very quick, aggressive vibrato, very slow and melodic. Then you've got other kind of blues style vibratos and stuff like that. I mean, there's loads of different vibratos. I mean, I think the best thing to do with anything like that is to just kind of think about what kind of vibrato you want to have in your playing and then work on that. I mean, and instead of kind of learning every possible vibrato there is out there, maybe concentrate on something that you like the sound of, or something that you're doing, because vibrato is one of those things that can give you individuality as a player, because it's a very expressive thing to do. So my advice would be to kind of like imagine what style of vibrato you want to have and then work on that. But it's working on vibrato with notes that aren't bent, and then you're gonna bend up notes, and then it's all about controlling the vibrato, so you keep the note at the same pitch that you targeted before adding vibrato, and then obviously adding that in. You don't want it to go sharp or flat. You want to kind of keep that control when you're playing. But again, you can apply that vibrato that you want to have to all kinds of stuff. Whether it be chords, bending, just sliding into notes, all that kind of stuff. But there's a few lessons on how to do that and how to control it. So.
Oh, cool. I'm going to hand back to Nick now. I'll let you take a drink while we take a quick break as well. Nick?
Okay.
Hi there. All right.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just going to give Andy a breather just for a minute, and I'm just going to mention a couple of things that we've got in the pipeline for the academy. What we've decided to do is run a competition. You know how you see these competitions on YouTube where there's a guitar solo contest. I know recently the Periphery did one, and there's a few other acts who've done a similar kind of a thing, and that's what we've decided to do with the academy. Now, the official announcement is now, but what you need to do to make sure that you don't miss out on the instructions of what you need to do is head over to andyjamesguitaracademy.com, and in the box on the screen, put your name and email address in the box. You'll get the free lessons, and that means you're on our email list, and we'll be sending out an email in the next couple of days with instructions about that. We will post it to Facebook, YouTube as well, but as some of you may or may not know, Facebook doesn't show your post to all of your fans when you have a fan page. So make sure that you register on the list. And basically what's going to happen is the track that Andy released over Christmas, actually released it on Christmas Eve, we're going to release that track again, and we're going to make that available for a download for everybody. And along with the track there's going to be obviously the backing track as well, and some notes on the solo section, you know, what key it's in and what scales Andy used. But basically it's a free for all, you know, and all you'll need to do is upload your solo to YouTube. You have to tag it a certain way, and we'll send you instructions of how to do that. And you know, Andy will just, you know, be watching through the submissions, and it'll be up for 30 days, so there'll be a 4-week period, and then at the end, Andy will pick a winner. There'll be 3 prizes. The first prize will be 1 year free access, and that's access all areas, which is the top level membership to the Andy James Guitar Academy. So 1 full year, you'll get free access to everything, all the lessons, all the courses, all the different products that are in there, all of the new lessons that are uploaded every week, everything. You get it all for free for a year. You'll also receive a signed EP, the Psychic Transfusion EP, and a handful of Andy James signature guitar picks, which I can show. We have a packet of them here.
I do use those as well occasionally, so just in case you think I don't use them, I do.
These are ready to go out. Prize 2, it'll be a signed EP and a handful of picks, and prize 3, it'll just be a handful of picks. And so we just want to announce that, but if you want to enter, stay tuned on Andy's Facebook page, but more than anything, make sure you register your email, name and email address at the AndyJamesGuitarAcademy.com. Just going to head back over to the comment tracker now and get some more questions. Now, this one's been coming up quite a lot. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people asking about. Let me just find the one here. This one's from Damien. I'll just put it up on the screen.
Hello, Damien. Damien Rains. I got a big in. Okay. Thanks. Andy, what happened with Sacred Mother? Can you say anything on that? Yeah, we we were a band for quite a long time. Sacred were actually a band longer than I was in them, and I guess we literally gigged, we toured, we did like Download, Sonosphere, Bloodstock, been to China, we'd done a lot of stuff, released a couple of albums, and I think it's a combination really of certain individuals within the band wanting to kind of get back to a life where they weren't sacrificing being on the road all the time for having time away from job or family or all that kind of stuff. And also there was a ton of kind of industry stuff which may or may not be the case for a lot of other bands that just seem to soldier through. But I think I think we just kind of got the vibe that we'd kind of done everything that we were going to do as a band, and it wasn't really going to go much further. I mean, I don't know really whether we called it too soon, to be honest with you, but I don't really know. I mean, it was just a thing. I mean, me personally, I've got a ton of stuff that I want to really focus on and kind of get out there, the academy being one of them. I feel like it's something that at this time in my life I really want to do something like this,
Yeah.
And also, there's going to be some tours that I'll be doing, by myself, like clinic tours and stuff like that. I want to do, some more of that kind of stuff. And I don't know, we're all still mates. None of us fell out. We all stay in touch. Who knows, if the planets align again and we fancy giving it another go, it might happen. But I don't know. I think we're just going to go and we're doing our own thing really at the moment.
Cool. That leads on to the next question. A lot of people asking about releasing some tabs of the Sacred Mother Tongue songs.
Well, that does bring us to the next thing. This kind of next announcement, really. I mean, even though Sacred Mother Tongue are no more, there's still, I think, it's still worth putting something out which allows people that did enjoy the album and were fans of the band or fans of mine or playing or whatever, to get the opportunity to play some of this stuff or learn some of the riffs and solos. So what we've done is the whole album has been tabbed, and it's going to be available as a as an ebook to download. You know, that all the riffs and all the solos have been transcribed, and
Cool.
it's going to be available. So
Yeah, and also along with that, we're, we've decided to include, and this is the same for everything in the Guitar Academy. We've decided to include the guitar profiles for all the transcriptions also, so that you can slow it down, you can speed it up, you can loop different parts, etc., etc. You know, just as a good practice aid. So there is going to be an additional download with that, and also with everything on the Academy as well. Which I know, being a guitarist myself, I know, you know, that's a great, you know, tool and a great practice aid to have.
Well, also, a few of the solos have been broken down and explained in the course as well.
Cool, great,
So.
great. Now, I'm going to go on to another question here.
Okay, cool.
This is from David Brown. I'll just put it up on the screen so you can have a look at it.
How do you visualize the guitar when approaching a new solo? Generally, I look at it across the room and go, right then. No, I mean, to be honest with you, every writing process for me that ever takes place starts with just sitting down and improvising some ideas. You know, I mean, to be honest, I try and you know, like if I've got a session open and I'm trying to record a solo and stuff like that, what I'll do generally is I'll take the section that I'm going to play, and then I'll just kind of improvise wildly over it until something kind of sticks. And I'll have all these kind of like recorded versions and stuff. But generally, when you try and write and you try and specifically place things in certain orders and stuff like that, I feel that you lose a lot of maybe the fire that you want within your playing. You know what I mean? Like you might kind of work things out too much to a point where it's a little bit sterile, and it can be a little bit, you know, not very exciting. But so what I'll do is I'll kind of improvise and I'll record it right off the bat, because quite often for the first couple of takes is normally the best ideas to come out, and then everything, you know, kind of falls by the wayside after that. So then what I do is I'll take those first few takes and I'll listen to them, and then I'll kind of analyze what makes them cool, and then I sort of relearn it like that. So even though I said, you know, maybe writing bits, you know, can become a bit sterile, I kind of get the raw thing down that I like, and then I try and learn to recreate that so it's pretty consistent every time. So it sounds pretty raw all the time, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
And then I kind of go from there, really. And then, you know, but I always try and, if I can, get a good balance between, you know, melodically something that works to serve the song, and you know, I mean, generally, you know, there's this argument that, you know, if you play fast, it's without feeling and it's without any kind of expression whatsoever. And I totally don't agree with that statement at all. Like, you know, I think if it becomes a fundamental part of your style, it does do something. It does have an emotional connection. So, you know, there'll never be like a section in a song where, oh yeah, well that sounds like it was just put in there because it was like, right, well, you know, let's throw a technique in there, for example. I mean, pretty much everything that I write and I do for songs, it has a purpose, whether it kind of goes from one melodic part to another. Everything that's kind of written and put out there, it has, you know, a purpose. It's meant to be there, you know. It's not just a kind of whim that it's there and I've kind of left it, you know.
Yeah.
So I try and, you know, create as much melody as I can within my playing, but then, you know, the faster bits and stuff, that's just as important for me, because it is the expression and it's the light and shade between the melody and the aggressiveness of playing technique.
Cool. Another question here from Riley, I think is the pronunciation. I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, I reckon Riley Morton.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your entry point into the music business? Do you have advice for guitarists who don't have a band but want to tour and make records? Well, that last bit, it's going to be difficult to tour without a band. Unless you get in one. I think that's what they're trying to say. Do you have advice for guitarists who don't have a band but want to get in a band and tour? I would probably say. Well, I mean, first off, how I got into the music business, I suppose how I got into, you know, being in the public you know, domain pretty much on YouTube, I guess, was through Lick Library, and that was through you know, meeting Jamie Humphries. You know, I did a guitar competition. I mean, it's a long story. I'm sure some people know it, but long story short, I did a guitar competition that was sponsored by Ernie Ball. I ended up winning that guitar competition, and you know, through my connection to Ernie Ball, I met Jamie Humphries, and we, you know, jammed together and stuff. And I'd seen him, you know, years before doing, like, you know, demonstrations and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, I guess we, you know, became sort of friends, if you like, you know, got on and that. And then one day I get a phone call, and he puts me onto the boss for Lick Library, Kim Waller, and that was it really. They got me in to do a couple of, well, to do a teaching video. I think my first ever video was Get the Funk Out by Extreme. Had to, you know, teach that. And I mean, it was no guarantee that it was going to work, but they'd obviously decided that they liked what I did, and they offered me a chance to do some DVDs, and it's just kind of grown from there really. Everything else has spawned from that one moment of doing, you know, teaching for Lick Library. So that's it.
Yeah.
That's literally how I got into it, which was kind of by luck really. But I mean, I guess what he was saying, or her, I'm not really entirely sure. Riley, I guess, could be either or. I don't want to offend anybody by saying that, but yeah, I mean, I was in my day job and I hated it, so I was looking through a guitar magazine and I saw an advert for a guitar contest. So I thought, why not? And I went for it. And I guess if you want to be in a band, you're going to have to do the same thing, you know, maybe seek out other musicians to jam with, and or look at adverts in music shops, and because, you know, it's very hard to land a job within an already touring band. You know, I mean, I've kind of been lucky with some of the things I've done, but, you know, you've got to start somewhere, because you never know. You know, those few sessions in a garage that you might do on a Sunday afternoon might turn into 100,000 people at Hyde Park, you know what I mean? But you've got no idea where it's going to go. You just got to go with it and see what happens.
Yeah, that kind of leads into the next question a little bit, very similar. I'll put it up on the screen as well, yeah.
Bloodline 2009. Question: Having done lots of tours, does playing guitar for a living feel like a day job some days? Ups and downs? No. You know, I mean, for the longest time, I think I wanted to play guitar for a living. So, you know, now that's kind of what I do. It's great. I mean, stress doesn't come from playing guitar necessarily, or the job that I do. I mean, every job, no matter what you do, there's going to be stress. A lot of mine sometimes is trying to get jobs done right, because I am a like serial perfectionist with a lot of stuff. So when I feel like I'm not really nailing it, I do get incredibly frustrated with myself. But that's, you know, I'm my own worst critic when it comes to guitaring anyway. You know, like every time I've done a gig, or, you know, do clinics, or I'm playing to camera or anything like that, you know. I mean, you know, Nick, when we've been doing filming, you probably sat there and gone, well, that's fine, and then I'll go and do another 50 takes because I won't be happy with it. You know? But that's the thing. It's just, you know, I think that's what drives me, is the fact that I really do just want everything that I do to be the best it can be, you know, for as long as I can play and do stuff. So that's just the only stresses really that come from the job are ones that I put on myself, but they're not there, you know. I mean, people ask me to kind of do a job because they're confident that I can do it, you know. It's my own pressure on myself is the only thing that really you know, makes it difficult sometimes. But yeah, you know, you just get over that and enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, playing live, I mean, I don't think there's any greater buzz,
definitely.
Really.
Yeah. Right, going on to the next question here. What's sort of like in the pipeline in the next few weeks? I mean, I know that you're going to be attending NAMM. There's a lot of people here asking about, you know, any upcoming concerts or clinics. You know, so what's happening in the near future apart from the academy? You know, what are you up to?
Well, you know, we're going to obviously be launching the academy. You know, NAMM in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be playing for various people. DV Mark being one of them. Friday night at the Hilton. If anyone's around, come by, say hello. Yeah, also we're going to be playing for ESP and doing some new videos for EMG as well over in San Francisco. So that's going to be cool. Then, yeah, I think March I'm trying to put or trying to organise a show over in Chile, I think it is. We had a question from someone from Chile earlier, so maybe they might like to come along if it gets sorted out. Then Frankfurt, I'm going to be doing Frankfurt Music Show. And then there's talk of going to Canada and doing some stuff later on in the year that possibly might go into the States as well. So there's going to be a ton of stuff. I mean, half the year is nearly planned out already, And there's a band project that I am doing, which I can't really say too much about at the moment, but that's only because because one of the other guys in the band is very busy with pretty major band, so I don't know what the schedule's going to be like for that. And there might be some opportunities to do some other stuff in a band live. I don't know how that's going to present itself yet, but we'll see. It's open. Anything could happen at this point. But I think my main focus really is going to be, the academy for the most part, and really kind of make it the best it can be.
Great. And that kind of leads on, there's a lot of questions here about the academy, when will the academy, when will the academy,
my inbox is just going up now. I can't view them all when I'm on here.
I guess one of the main questions here, and this will clear up some a lot of those questions, is a lot of people are asking, is it going to be a monthly payment or is it going to be a one-time payment? And I guess I can answer this for
I think that's probably better if you answer that.
Basically, what we're going to have inside the academy when the members area goes live, we're going to have a membership area, and we're going to have 2 membership levels. One basic membership level where you receive the videos and all the new videos that are uploaded every week. And that's the basic membership level, yeah. And then we're going to have another membership level, which is the access all areas, membership level, where you get everything. So you get the videos, you get the PDF transcription, you get the guitar profile, you get the text transcription, which is something that we've just been working on this week. So for a lot of the non-English speaking fans or those who haven't got great English, they can download the text transcript and put that into Google Translate and translate it into their language and fully understand everything that Andy's talking about. We have an MP3 for the lessons, backing tracks, so on and so on. There's a lot of different things inside the academy. So we've got the basic membership level and the access all areas membership level, and that'll be a monthly subscription. You pay your fee every month and you'll get all of the new lessons that we upload every week and some cool bonuses that we're going to announce these a little bit later on. So it's going to be good value for money. You're going to get a lot of stuff for the money, and it's going to be no much more than the cost of an average guitar lesson for a whole month. Yeah, so a lot of people are asking questions about the cost. We're not announcing the cost at the moment, because we're still working on getting all the content ready, uploading it to the server, so on and so on. So that kind of answers one part of that question. So we have a monthly, and we're going to have some courses. Andy mentioned before, we have a course already. It's just getting finished up in the next few days. And that is going to be a one-time fee. So you'll purchase the course and you'll be able to download everything, all the PDFs, the documents, the guitar profiles, everything inside of there, and that'll be a one-time fee. And we have different courses over time. So what we want to do is ask the fans, email us, comment on Facebook, comment on Andy's timeline. We read every single comment. Tell us what you want. The first course is on pentatonics, metal pentatonics, but we want to hear from the fans. We want to know, what do you want to learn? What do you want to learn from Andy? So send us an email at nick@andyjamesguitaracademy.com. Comment on Facebook, Twitter, and let us know, because the academy is about you. So we're going to have a course, and also we're going to have, Andy mentioned before, we're going to have some different products in there as well, such as the Sacred Mother Tongue digital book that's going to be coming out as well. That'll be a download, and there'll be various other things we mentioned earlier. A course on, warming up, proper warming up, away from your instrument, different stretches that you can do, how to prevent injuries. If you've got an injury, how to sort of handle it, how to deal with it. We're going to have a lot of different things inside the academy, as well as merchandise, limited edition T-shirts. There's going to be a lot of different things in there. And the final thing I will say is what we will be doing with the live Hangouts. These Hangouts that we're doing now, this is the first one. These will be for members only in the future. Okay, so we're gonna do a few for the public. This will kind of become a private event that will be for the members only. So every month, Andy will do a Hangout, probably a couple of hours in length, and the fans will be able to actually not just chat with the text in the side, but they'll be able to come on cam and talk to Andy, play the guitar, and Andy will be able to, coach them live, and everyone else will be able to watch as well. And that is something that is going to be coming out as part of the Academy, a big bonus. So that should answer a lot of questions that people have about the Academy. But if you want to stay tuned in and you want to be notified of when the members area goes live, you need to visit the website, andyjamesguitaracademy.com, and put your name and email address in that box. We'll send you the free lessons, we'll send you the surprises, and basically at the end of that process, the members area will go live, and you will be notified of that before anybody else hears about it. Because we do have to manage it. It's a technical thing. The server already blew up once. So we have to manage the traffic going to the Academy, otherwise we don't want to be getting hundreds of emails from people saying that they can't watch the content, they can't download this or they can't download. So we have to manage it. So get your name and email address over on that list. And I guess what I'll do now is just before we close up, because we're at 60 minutes, is just see if I can take another question here.
Hi Nick, I'm just I was just coming in to tell you that you've got the last comment up on the screen, and
all right.
I have a few queued in the comment tracker on the other system if you want me to bring those in. Mostly just people saying thanks, etc. Or
yeah, there's just one question here that I've spotted that I would like to bring up on the screen for Andy, and then we'll maybe highlight a few people and thank a few people at the end. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, fantastic, buddy. Yeah, we're not in any rush.
Cool. So Andy, I don't know if you can see the screen there. There's just one question which I thought.
Okay. Do you compose first the backing track, the solo track, or it's a pretty random process? I guess it's a question about writing in general. I would have thought. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Most of my stuff ends up being a track written first. Because I get inspired a lot by, guitar riffs or something that I'll play, or, something that's, done to a drum machine, or, like a drum track in Cubase or something, which is what I use to record a lot of my stuff. And a lot of it does just become one big jam session, really. Like, I'll loop like maybe 4 bars of a riff with a drum beat, and that'll be just the most basic form of an idea. And then just sort of jam loads of ideas over it, and then, maybe a melody will come, or maybe the idea for another riff will come along, and, it kind of pieces together. Mostly the song gets written, like I would write for anything else, like a band, or, like I used to write for Sacred Mother Tongue, really. I mean, that was like solo album songs, really, without solos on, and then me and Darren would work together on writing the stuff. But yeah, essentially I just do like the full band thing and then give it to him and then go, right, go on and get on with it sort of thing. But yeah, there's no real science behind it. Sometimes I'll start an idea and I'll get to the end and I'll be jamming over it and it just doesn't feel right and it feels awkward, so sometimes they just get binned and I'll start again. But yeah, I mean, occasionally there'll be some ideas, like Angel of Darkness was an arpeggio thing that I was working on, and I thought that'd be cool to intro a song, so I had to figure out the chords behind that before I did it. Yeah, there's not a lot of songs that start off with a particular lead first, because that would imply generally that I would be trying to force a technique or something into a song rather than let it kind of naturally progress. It does depend. It really does depend. I mean, writing can happen or while you sat on the toilet or pushing a trolley around the supermarket. Do you know what I mean? You get an idea in your head and then you just kind of go from there, really. So
yeah. cool. Well, one thing I
Well,
will
I
say
guess.
before one thing I will say before I hand over to Michael, just to close the show, is we will be uploading this to Andy's YouTube channel in the next couple of days, so you will be able to watch it back. And we'll post it on Facebook and Twitter. And stay tuned, because we will be doing another public live event over the next couple of weeks, just before we launch the Andy James Guitar Academy membership area.
Yep.
So with that said, over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Nick,
Cool.
and thanks, Andy.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
just going to bring up a few of the comments that I picked up in the comment tracker. Just people generally saying, great advice on writing solos. That's from Sam Bell Guitar. Snike
Oh
RG.
yeah.
Snike
Cool.
RG says he saw your interview with Petrucci. That was
Oh yeah.
God's meeting, he says. Impressive.
Well, it was just as cool for me as it was for anybody else, believe me.
And Python 023, he wants to know how many guitars you own. One or two, I guess.
I think it's around maybe 7 or 8. It's not too many. They've all got their own little purpose, but there's about 7 or 8 knocking around.
Yeah. And mostly, I've been watching because we run Hangouts for different people and different mediums. We have the comment tracker actually pulling comments in from various locations. Anything up to a week before an event. And I was watching, and the comments when the event actually went live on Google Plus and on Facebook simultaneously. I saw comments coming through within 5 minutes. We've never seen that happen before.
Yeah, it's cool though. It's good. I mean, it means.
Oh yeah, by far, I think this is only my own personal opinion, but I think it's by far the best medium of engaging with an audience. A lot of people are a little put off by it because it's live video, and there can be people like yourself that are used to performing, so you'd think that it would be natural for them, but it can be kind of a little unnatural, a little unnerving.
Oh, we're just having a chat, isn't it? Really? I mean,
basically, yeah. I mean, we're using Google Hangouts. It's called Hangouts. It's just everybody's relaxing, having a chat and finding out, how things are going. Now, just for the for the audience that are watching, as Nick said, this program is currently streaming live to our channel on Hosted Hangouts. Once it's finished encoding, we'll have to edit it a little. We'll download it and it'll be available up on Andy's channel on YouTube. But by all means, feel free to continue commenting on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Google, and we'll be able to get back to you, hopefully over the next couple of days. Nick, if you could just remove the comment that's on screen, and we can all say goodnight and wrap up the show. Just want to thank you very much, Andy, for your time.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing this. It's been great. I just want to say that. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be hundreds and hundreds of questions that we didn't get round to answering. But that's what the academy's for. We're going to get round to everyone eventually. So
it's difficult. Yeah. I'd imagine. I've seen 50 or 100 comments come through easily before the event even started. So I appreciate you guys and I appreciate your time, and I'm sure the fans out there are going to get responses to their comments too. Any final words, Nick?
Just want to thank all the fans for coming down, and stay tuned for the next hangout, which will be coming soon, and register your details